Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the state of the 2024 presidential election and how we basically have our general election matchup. Donald Trump is certain to be the Republican nominee, as Joe Biden is for the Democratic nomination. Um, and of course, we do have some independent candidates who are looking to be very powerful at the beginning, but are starting to fumble, particularly Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But we will especially be looking at the Republican primary. We are just down to two candidates, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. These are the first two candidates that we started off with. I did not think that we would end up with the same two candidates that first announced. I wasn't expecting a Trump Haley matchup to be the final two candidates. I don't really think anyone was when Nikki Haley announced her candidacy. She was seen as more of a someone who wanted to be the vice presidential nominee, someone who wanted maybe a cabinet position or some other position to get her name out there more on the primary stage. But she really is in it to win it now, even though it's not looking good for her. She has now ruled out being the running mate to Donald Trump. She says she doesn't want it anymore. She is now very harsh on Trump, not going easy on him anymore. So she's obviously now in it to become president of the United States, but it looks extremely unlikely. Even though it is, Trump does have 32 delegates to Nikki Haley's 18. Um, it's only two states have voted, and of course, this trend will not continue. On the national level, Trump is ahead by 57.7%, and that is when DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy are still in. That's 14% from them alone. And the vast majority of that will go to Donald Trump. Both DeSantis and Ramaswamy endorsed Trump. So right now we're looking more like an 85% for Trump to 15% for Haley kind of situation here. I mean, it really is over. Trump has been able to climb throughout this entire election cycle. Ron DeSantis, of course, was seen as Trump's main opponent. The closest it really got was a 13-point margin between them. But especially since the Manhattan indictment with Alvin Bragg and everything, with Trump pushing the message that this was a political witch hunt, that it was politically motivated, he has been able to just climb and climb and climb, and we are seeing in these recent weeks after Iowa and New Hampshire, I mean, him really peak after DeSantis and Ramaswamy withdrawing. He sits at 70% when DeSantis and Ramaswamy are still included. So this really is over. Haley can't recover, even if she were to win South Carolina somehow, she wouldn't be able to recover from a 12 to 85% or a 15 to 85% margin, let's say. Right? I mean, she has absolutely no shot at becoming this nominee. I think she's just in it because she still does have the money, and why not use it? A lot of people like campaigning. I mean, she will have a mark in history, at least more than the other candidates if she stays in a little while longer. But she really does have a lot of money. Her super PAC raked in like $50 million since New Hampshire or something. I mean, it really is just insane. So again, it's 85 to 15, let's call it, and no matter how much money she has, um, it really is over because you just can't recover from a margin like this. I mean, we really wouldn't talk about a Senate race or a gubernatorial race if it was 85 to 15%, right? I mean, it really it's done. I mean, we can move on. Like, again, Haley's just in it for whatever. But this also comes as the RNC has almost wanted to declare Trump as the party's presumptive nominee. Of course, presumptive meaning before the convention takes place. They wanted to name him. This is what they usually do for incumbents. I believe that the DNC basically did this with Biden. But I mean, that would be historic. I mean, a non-incumbent president being declared the presumptive nominee is absolutely insane. I mean, the RNC chair, Ronna McDaniel, proposed this on Fox News on live national TV. So it's very serious. But Donald Trump smartly did reject this idea, saying, again, it's not like he's going to lose either way. But that was smart of him. Make it look like there is still a contest and that he isn't pushing this corruptness, and he says people should still have a choice. But it's not like it'll last much longer with a real competition. I mean, when you look at South Carolina, Haley is not doing much better there than anywhere else. I guess it's a little bit closer, but it's currently 21 to 52. Trump is ahead by 30%. Plus, DeSantis is out now. His 10 of his 11% we can expect to go to Trump. And Haley will get absolutely demolished in her home state of South Carolina. And that will truly be the end of her campaign, I believe. I mean, you just can't recover from a brutal loss in your home state. And even if you have the money, why even go on after that? If you lose every single early state and get crushed really in every one of them besides New Hampshire, then you're likely not to win any states on Super Tuesday or many delegates. So again, we are somehow at this point. This is really happening, as this Atlantic article puts it. This country is ending up with the matchup that really no one wants, the Biden versus Trump matchup. And that's where third parties come into play. I mean, we are seeing historic poll numbers for third party candidates. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in some polls is as high as 23% in the very um, now well known, um, publicized New York Times and Siena College polls. They polled, every single state, and Kennedy was polling at 25% in some swing states. He was doing very well in these New York Times polls, and in some of these swing states, in the big polls were in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia. And Trump was ahead by a lot in all of them. So, these polls were vastly shared on the internet and whatever. They became very well known. And, why am I struggling to say this? The news talked about them a lot, whatever. Um, and when Kennedy was included, Trump was beating Biden by so much in all of these polls across swing states. Despite that, when Kennedy was included, he was polling around 20 to 25% in each of those six critical swing states, and that was incredible. No one really talked about that side of the polls. And when Kennedy was included, so if he's on the ballot in all of those states, the race becomes so much closer. Trump does not lead by as much as in just a Biden versus Trump rematch, and I think that Kennedy could do well if he does get on the ballot in a lot of states. I mean, he'll definitely be. I mean, he has the shot. Let me put it this way: he has the shot of winning like a couple electoral votes. He could win Maine's second congressional district. He could win Alaska. He could win Utah. These independent-minded states could all vote for Kennedy. Not all, but he could get a couple of electoral votes, and he will be considered a major candidate. I mean, he's going to win a good amount of the overall vote, right? He's going to win a solid percentage. So there is kind of a third option in this election, and that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So this does make the Biden versus Trump matchup a lot interesting. But um, again, we have our matchup. As for the Democrats, Dean Phillips or Marianne Williamson did not come out successful in New Hampshire. Dean Phillips did overperform polls. He got about 20% of the vote, but I mean, Joe Biden was a write in, and he was still able to win like 70% of the vote, and he really crushed both of them. So, obviously, I don't think we can see any surprises at the convention or anything. I'm expecting that Biden does become the nominee. It'd be very interesting if he doesn't, though, if something does happen at the convention. But, but, so Biden and Trump are likely to be our nominees. And I just wanted to make a video about how the primary race is really over. I mean, we have our nominees. It is set in stone. It will be Biden versus Trump versus Kennedy, and yeah, Kennedy can shake things up, but no one really else has a shot of becoming the nominees, and we have our 2024 matchup. So thank you all for watching this video. I know this was a terrible video.